Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast.
Good to be here.
Today, we're taking a focused look at Lockheed Martin. You sent in a collection of reports, news snippets, financial analyses.
Quite a stack of information.
It is. And our mission today is, well, to cut through the noise and pull out the key insights for you regarding this major aerospace and defense player.
We'll look at their recent performance, financial health, competitive position.
And maybe try to figure out what the future might hold, all based on the information you've shared.
Okay, where should we start? How about recent financials?
Sounds good. Let's unpack their recent financial performance. The numbers you sent over, they show some interesting trends. In the first quarter of 2025, their revenue hit $18.0 billion.
Which is a solid 4% increase from the $17.2 billion reported same time last year.
And their projections for the full year, 2025, they anticipate sales between $73.75 and $74.75 billion.
So that suggests what? About a 4 or 5% growth rate is expected to continue?
And what's notable here, this isn't just an isolated jump, is it? The reports you provided indicate a pattern of steady revenue growth for Lockheed Martin.
Over the past several years, yes. It seems significantly driven by, well, increased government defense spending and some pretty substantial contract wins.
It really paints a picture of a company with consistent upward momentum.
That's a crucial point. This sustained revenue growth suggests more than just short-term gains, right?
Definitely.
It could reflect their strong positioning within the defense sector and their ability to consistently secure and execute major projects.
And this growth isn't limited to just the top line. Earnings per share also saw a hefty increase.
Oh yeah, the EPS, Q1 2025 EPS was $7.28.
Up roughly 14% from the $6.39 in Q1 2024. That's a big jump.
It is. And their full-year diluted EPS guidance is also promising, between $27 and $27.30 per share.
That's quite a significant boost to their profitability per share.
It really is. This kind of EPS growth, it often signals strong operational efficiency and profitability.
Suggests the revenue increase isn't just higher sales figures alone.
No, it points towards effective cost management, maybe better execution on contracts.
Which, in a sector where margins can be tight, that level of bottom-line growth is certainly something to take note of.
Agreed. Now, let's maybe shift focus to cash flow.
Okay.
In the first quarter of 2025, their free cash flow, FCF, the cash they generate after accounting for, investment.
Right, after reinvesting in the business.
It was $955 million.
Which is a decrease compared to the $1.3 billion in the same quarter of 2024. That might raise some eyebrows.
Indeed. It does raise the question of, well, why the dip in free cash flow for that quarter?
But the reports also indicate strong full-year FCF guidance, don't they?
They do, between $6.6 and $6.8 billion.
So that suggests the first quarter's lower figure might be down to specific factors, timing of payments maybe?
Yeah.
Or investments?
Could be. The overall expectation for the year remains robust, and it's also clear they are focused on returning value to shareholders.
Ah, the dividend. They recently announced a second quarter 2025 dividend of $3.30 per share.
Payable June 27th to shareholders of record June 2nd.
This consistent history of dividend payouts yielding around, 2% to 2.7%?
In that range, yes. That's definitely something income-focused investors would find appealing.
What's also noteworthy is how they're balancing this return of capital with ongoing investment in the business.
That's a good point. The reports highlight their quarterly R&D spending over $850 million.
And at the same time, they returned $1.5 billion to shareholders in Q1 2025 alone.
Through dividends and stock buybacks.
It seems to indicate a strategic approach, prioritizing both future growth through innovation and providing immediate value to investors.
A balanced approach. Okay, moving on to the fundamental strength of their business and the broader industry trends.
Let's do it. It appears Lockheed Martin possesses some significant advantages.
Like their proprietary technologies. Things like the F-35, THAD, Patriot systems.
Those are mentioned, yes, along with their strong brand reputation and the cost efficiencies they get from their sheer scale.
These sound like substantial barriers to entry. Things that would make it difficult for competitors to really challenge their position.
They certainly act as significant economic moats, as they're sometimes called.
Right. These aren't just abstract concepts. The patents protecting their advanced tech, the deep relationships with governments built over years.
Formidable obstacles for new entrants. Provides a considerable degree of stability for future revenue.
And in terms of market standing, they consistently rank as a leader in aerospace and defense.
Particularly in military aircraft, placing them alongside giants like Boeing Defense and Northrop Grumman.
Their consistent dominance in military aircraft is a key pillar of their strength. The reports underscore their position as a leading player within the U.S. defense industry.
And this leadership role offers a stable platform for continued growth, especially when we consider the current global geopolitical landscape.
Which brings us to those important industry trends working in their favor.
Increased government spending seems to be a major one, driven by ongoing global conflicts, like the situation in Ukraine.
That appears to be a major tailwind for the whole defense sector.
Plus, the technological advancements areas like hypersonics, autonomous systems, space exploration.
All domains where Lockheed Martin is actively involved and investing heavily.
What's particularly interesting is the synergy between these factors, isn't it?
How so?
Well, global instability directly fuels increased defense budgets.
And Lockheed Martin's strategic focus on these cutting-edge technologies positions them perfectly to capitalize on where that increased spending is going.
Space exploration in particular seems like an expanding area of opportunity for them.
Definitely one to watch. Now, let's maybe touch on the leadership.
Okay. Jim Tacklet, Chairman, President, CEO since June 2020.
And the reports reference a return-to-growth strategy initiated about 3 years ago.
Which appears to be yielding positive results based on the financials we discussed.
It seems so. The financial outcomes do seem to validate the effectiveness of this strategic direction.
And the concurrent emphasis on both R&D investment and returning capital suggests a well-rounded strategic approach to management.
Agreed. Okay. Turning our attention to valuation and potential risks. How does the market see the company?
Well, the price-to-earnings ratio is likely comparable to, or maybe slightly below, the sector average, around 20x perhaps.
Suggesting a reasonable valuation relative to its earnings.
Especially considering their robust earnings growth. Their debt-to-equity ratio appears moderate, around 0.8 to 1.0.
Which indicates balanced leverage. They aren't overly reliant on borrowing. That's generally positive.
And the return on equity, ROE, has historically been strong, comfortably above the industry average, maybe around 20%.
That highlights their efficiency in generating profits from shareholders' investments. A consistently high ROE is a good sign.
The price-to-book ratio, comparing market cap to book value, it's in the approximate range of 10 times.
Which often reflects a premium valuation for these tech-heavy defense firms.
And as we mentioned, the dividend yield is attractive, 2 to 2.7%, plus the beta is approximately 0.7.
Meaning the stock tends to be less volatile than the broader market, appealing for investors seeking relative stability.
That lower beta really emphasizes the somewhat defensive nature of a major defense contractor, doesn't it?
It does. While not immune to market swings, their business is often less directly correlated with economic cycles because of that consistent government demand.
Of course, it's crucial to acknowledge the risks. Geopolitical uncertainties are always there.
Supply chain disruptions, too. We've seen that across many sectors.
Regulatory changes, export controls, tariffs, those are possibilities.
And potential litigation risks, though nothing major recently reported in the sources you provided.
These are inherent risks in the defense industry, though. Geopolitical events can impact contract timing and nature.
And supply chains remain vulnerable. Plus, working closely with governments means regulatory changes are always a factor to monitor.
How about comparing them to peers, like Northrop Grumman or Boeing Defense?
Okay, their forecasted revenue growth, that 4 or 5%, seems comparable to Northrop Grumman.
And perhaps more stable than Boeing Defense, which is still navigating recovery in some areas.
Their EPS growth is strong. More volatile for Boeing due to commercial aviation exposure, while Northrop Grumman shows steady gains.
And their debt to equity, around 0.8.
Lower than Boeing Defense, which is over 2, and similar to Northrop Grumman's 0.9 or so.
Dividend yield also pretty consistent with competitors, maybe slightly higher than Boeing's, similar to Northrop's.
What really seems to stand out in this comparison is the apparent stability Lockheed Martin exhibits across several key metrics.
While Boeing deals with its specific challenges, and Northrop is also performing well.
Lockheed Martin's growth trajectory seems characterized by maybe a greater degree of steadiness and predictability.
Let's talk recent news. The completion of NASA's Orion Artemis II spacecraft. That's a significant milestone.
A big win, definitely. But interestingly, there was a notable surge in trading volume on May 12th.
$644 million, up nearly 40%.
Yet the stock price actually declined slightly, 0.08% for the second day running.
Which suggests, what? Mixed sentiment in the market, despite the positive Orion news.
It could. That combination of high volume and a slight price dip might indicate institutional investors adjusting holdings.
Or maybe broader market conditions or sector-specific concerns are playing a role.
Possibly. While the Orion news is good, the market reaction seems complex. The defense sector overall is seeing ongoing demand for advanced tech, though.
And Lockheed Martin seems well positioned to capitalize on trends in space exploration and cybersecurity.
So, summing up strengths and potential concerns from the reports.
Strengths: solid revenue growth, focus on innovation, significant contract wins.
Concerns or red flags. Dependence on government contracts, making them vulnerable to policy changes.
And it's a highly competitive industry. General Dynamics, Northrop Grumman, others are always vying for contracts.
That reliance on government contracts is a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Provides stability, but also vulnerability to budget shifts or changing political priorities.
And the competition is indeed fierce.
Looking ahead, upcoming earnings reports will be crucial.
To assess if current performance trends continue and see any outlook adjustments.
Advancements in key programs like the F-35, progress in space systems, those are potential growth drivers.
But risks remain. Regulatory changes in defense spending, global economic conditions, always factors to monitor.
It will be particularly insightful for you, the listener, to follow those upcoming earnings calls and review their financial filings.
That's where you'll get the most current information on their financial health and future projections.
Keeping a close watch on F-35 news and Space Division developments will also be key catalysts.
So, reviewing the information you provided, Lockheed Martin appears to be a company with robust underlying strengths.
Operating in a sector with significant tailwinds right now.
Financial performance shows consistent growth. They hold a leading competitive position.
And management seems focused on both innovation and shareholder returns.
Nevertheless, that dependence on government contracts and the competitive landscape are important considerations.
And the recent mixed market reaction, even with positive news like Orion and the dividend, reminds us market sentiment can be complex.
This overview should give you a clearer picture of the key aspects of Lockheed Martin based on the sources you shared.
We definitely encourage you to delve further into their financial disclosures and track their upcoming earnings reports.
And if you found this breakdown helpful, please subscribe, like.
And leave a comment with any further questions you may have. We do read them.
Now, here's something to think about.
Go on.
With the increasing strategic importance being placed on space as a critical domain, how might Lockheed Martin's established expertise in this area provide them with an even greater competitive edge in the years to come?
That's a fascinating point. Their deep roots in space. Could that be a differentiator that becomes even more valuable? And something for you to contemplate?